I must thank you for this great honor.
I guess this takes blinging to a whole new level.
Again, I don't know if I deserve this award. Lifetime Achievement Award. Shoot, I'm only 48.
I was always a fighter before I was famous, and I always knew God did not give me the work to make me famous. He made me famous so I could do his work.
The National Civil Rights Museum every day helps to make America a more perfect union.
I thank you so much for this award.
Thank you for this award. Thank you.
Your award inspires us to continue the struggle for freedom and human rights. It reminds us that the long walk to freedom is not yet over.
Good morning. The National Civil Rights Museum is proud to present the 25th Freedom Annual Student Forum. Please welcome this year's Freedom Award winners as we just introduced Swin Cash, Benjamin Crump, Tawakol Carmen, the Honorable William Winter. They made history integrating Memphis City Schools, the members of the Memphis 13, the president of the National Civil Rights Museum, Terry Lee Freeman. This year's Student Forum celebrates the 25th anniversary of the museum and the Freedom Awards while reflecting on the theme, and justice for all. I'm Elise Preston from WREG News Channel 3.
I'm Garrett Faulkner Jr. It's an honor to be here. This year, the Student Forum has expanded as we're live streaming to classrooms across the country.
So exciting, right? And as our tour guides told us, the students can tweet and interact online.
Right. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all of the above.
That's amazing, Gary. And I know you've been traveling the country as a professional bowler. In fact, you're the second African-American to win a Professional Bowling Association national title.
Thank you. I'm a native Memphian. I learned to bowl right here at Winchester Bowl in Strike Zone Lanes.
How many of you like to bowl? Show of hands. I bet you never thought a professional bowler played at the same lanes you visit today. Well, let's keep the show going. We will now have the invocation by Reverend J. Lawrence Turner, Senior Pastor of Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church.
Good morning, and welcome onto the campus of Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church, the place that we affectionately just call the Boulevard. Will you join me in a word of prayer as every head is bowed and every eye is closed? God of grace and glory, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God, you continue to call us to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with you. We're grateful for this day and for the beauty of this occasion. We're grateful for the contribution of the National Civil Rights Museum. We ask you to continue to bless it in its mission, and we're grateful today for these peaceful warriors and freedom fighters who we honor. We pray that we all might be ignited with passion to continue the work that leads towards liberty and justice for all. We pray, God, that you would give us the strength and the energy that we need to work, to organize, to fight until justice runs down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. We ask this in the name of the one who gives us the audacity to hope, dream, and believe. And all who agreed said, amen.
Thank you, Reverend Turner. We also want to thank the Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church for hosting the Student Forum this year. We will now hear a selection from the Overton High School Concert Choir, followed by remarks from Terry Lee Freeman, President of the National Civil Rights Museum.
Tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. Yes, I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. Tell them what my Lord has done. Oh, yes, tell them the conqueror has come. And he brought joy, joy, joy to my soul. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. Yes, I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. Tell them what my Lord has done. Oh, yes, tell them the conqueror has come. And he brought joy, joy, joy to my soul. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. My Lord done just what he said. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He healed the sick and he raised the dead. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He lifted me when I was down. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He placed my feet on solid ground. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. Yes, I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. What my Lord has done. Tell him the conqueror has come. And he brought that morning, hallelujah. That morning, hallelujah. I can tell the world, yes, about this. I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. Yes, I can tell the nations, yes, that I'm blessed. What my Lord has done. Tell him the conqueror has come. Oh Lord, he brought joy that morning when he saved me. Joy that morning when he blessed me. I'll tell it how he brought this joy to my soul.
Wasn't that wonderful? Thank you so much, choir. Well, good morning. We are so excited to have you with us today. I want to thank Pastor J. Lawrence Turner for so graciously hosting us here at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. And I want to thank our presenting sponsor, International Paper, and our premier sponsors, FedEx, Nike, Ford Motor Corporation, the Hyde Family Foundations, and First Tennessee, for once again supporting this exciting student-led, student-focused student forum. Did you enjoy the pre-show? I heard a lot of noise, so I think you all did enjoy it. You all are 96 schools strong in and around Shelby County. Today you will have the opportunity to both hear from history and make a little history of your own. You will get to hear from a member of the Memphis 13 that desegregated Memphis City Schools in 1961, I apologize. These 13 children were in first grade when their parents made the decision that they would be the ones to pave the way for other brown and black children to learn in the same classrooms as their white peers. Can you imagine how frightening that must have been for the children, but also for their parents? You'll also get to hear from a WNBA athlete, Swin Cash, an attorney, Ben Crump, a journalist and international advocate, Tawako Carman, and the former governor of Mississippi, the Honorable William Winter. Each of these individuals was once in your shoes as a student. Each of these individuals chose to use their lives to help others. Whether it is a focus on equitable education and ensuring that every student has access to quality instruction, or whether it is taking on the justice system to make sure that the victims are not put on trial. Their work has been about applying justice equally. And you will help make history by being a part of this forum. We are live streaming this event, and even those who are not in this sanctuary today will have the opportunity to participate in the forum by submitting questions online. I hope each of you take from this forum information that will help you determine what your next steps will be in school or in life. Thank you for being here with us, and thanks to the teachers, counselors, and chaperones for encouraging each scholar present this morning. Thank you, and enjoy the program.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. And special thanks to our sponsor, International Paper. They make this event possible every year. Let's give them a round of applause.
We're pleased to have Dr. Michael Eric Dyson with us here today. Let's go ahead and give him a round of applause. He's going to give us his perspective on what's going on.
Thank you so kindly. To Ms. Freeman, who directs this wonderful and incredible museum, to the great honorees, Brian Stevenson in absentia, Ms. Swin Cash, Ms. Soledad O'Brien in absentia, Ms. Tawako Carman, the Honorable William Winter, Judge Damon Keith in absentia, and of course, Attorney Benjamin Crump, to the pastor of this great church, Dr. Turner, and his lovely bride, to you, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. How y'all doing this morning? Y'all good? This is the Formation Tour Part 2. We are honored to be here today. What an incredible opportunity for you to witness history in the making. You know, when you go to school and you look at your textbooks and you look at your classrooms and you study people from the past, it's remarkable. Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King Jr. You think about the tremendous contributions of feminism with Susan B. Anthony, or you think about Ida B. Wells Barnett. You think about all of those historic figures, but today you have the opportunity to hear from and engage with living history. Folk in your own time who are making a difference. Now, I know that y'all ain't always used to hearing that. You're used to hearing people talking about, let's mess up some commas, let's mess up some commas. 40,000 to 100,000, 100,000, another 100,000, 300,000, 500,000, 100,000 to 1 million. Let's mess up some commas. Well, let's mess up some commas in textbooks where we can see the power of our story told. Let's mess up some commas. while you're writing and reflecting and thinking critically about the world in which you live. And we're living in difficult times. No use to lying about it. We're living in an era, especially where black and Latino men and women, boys and girls, are subject to various forms of violence. We think about brutality among police. No, we are not demonizing all police. We know that many of them are doing the right thing at the right place, expecting the right outcome. But those who aren't must be called to attention and must be called to responsibility, and we have to say that. And they say, well, you killing each other in your communities every day. I tell you what, when they get caught, they go into jail. People kill where they live. If you want integrated killing, have integrated communities. The reality is this, that you and I are part of a great American nation. This nation has been made great because we are committed to the principle of truth and justice and democracy for everybody. These people who are being celebrated and feted today, they have given their lives, their lifeblood to the proposition that all human beings, regardless of their gender, their sexual orientation, their race, their class, their color, their religion, their region, deserve to be treated fairly and with the utmost respect. And so, my brothers and sisters, you have this opportunity, young people, to think about history in the making and to make some of your own. Think about where you are. Think about the difficulties that can be overcome. Now, all my teachers couldn't reach me, and my mama couldn't beat me hard enough to match the pain of my pop not seeing me. So, with that disdain in my membrane, got on my pimp game, blanked the world, my defense came. Think about Tupac Shakur, somebody wake me, I'm dreaming. I started as a seed, the semen, swimming up the stream, planted in the womb while screaming. On the top was my pops, my mama hollering stop from a single drop. This is what they got, not to disrespect my people, but my papa was a loser. Only plan he had for mama was the blanker and abuser. But I could see his plan for me, stranded on welfare, another broken family. But you can move on, you can be strong. Out of that cauldron that is seething with your own pathology and despair, you can rise up. That's why you're in this great institution. The church has reminded us from time immemorial that God is still alive. God will still breathe on us. And if we are willing to commit ourselves to the truth and freedom and democracy, nothing will stop us. Peace.
Powerful words. Thank you for being here with us, Dr. Dyson.
Thank you. Definitely great remarks. You can hear the energy in the room, feel the energy in the room. We want to keep the energy going. Let's welcome Ramonda Claiborne from International Paper.
Good morning. My name is Ramonda Claiborne, and I am an employee of International Paper. International Paper has partnered with the National Civil Rights Museum to sponsor the Keeper of the Dream Award for 14 years. The Keeper of the Dream Award is given to deserving young people who have demonstrated community service through courage, compassion, leadership, and service. I am pleased to introduce International Paper's chairman and CEO, Mark Sutton. Mark Sutton is a graduate of Louisiana State University and joined International Paper as an engineer. He has held various leadership positions throughout the company. As chairman and CEO of International Paper, he embodies the company's leadership model, which focuses on character, capability, and being a catalyst. It is my honor and my pleasure to present Mark Sutton.
Thank you, Ramonda. This is something I look forward to every year. By the way, good morning, everyone. I think you've heard that 4 times already. But this is an event I look forward to every year. Raise your hand if you've been to a student forum before. So quite a few, but quite a few, maybe this is your first. So whether you've attended before or this is your first time, The Student Forum and the Keeper of the Dream Awards give us all an opportunity to step away from the daily barrage of social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and focus on everyday heroes who are making a positive difference in the world, and actually in our world, right here in Memphis. How many of you have a role model in your life? Someone you look up to, someone you respect because of the way he is, or the things that she does? Raise your hand if you have a role model. So my wife Laurie and I, and Laurie is here with me, we have 6 kids. And that's right, we have 6 kids together. 3 of them are about your same age. We talk a lot about the importance of role models, and maybe not the kind of role model we think about sometimes, about people maybe we don't even know. Maybe it's a parent. I always tell my kids I would be a good choice for your role model. They don't always agree. Maybe it's a friend of the family, or perhaps even a teacher or a coach. Role models possess the qualities that we want to have. They are people we go to for advice and guidance. They actually want to make us better. They help inspire greatness in us. I think they see our potential and they want to help us reach it. So what does it take to be a good role model? When I think of the positive role models that I know, I think about people that have many good qualities. They make good choices. They apologize and admit when they make mistakes. They follow through on their commitments. They respect and show gratitude and appreciation for others. Many times, they've demonstrated extraordinary courage, compassion, and leadership, and even service toward others. They have strong character. Good role models are people we trust. The Keeper of the Dream Award is about recognizing students who are positive role models for all of us. They show us that we can make a difference at any age. Like past years, we had many nominations this year submitted from schools and nonprofit community organizations throughout the greater Memphis area. And that says a lot about the tremendous work being done by the youth of our city. Their accomplishments were really inspirational, and it made narrowing down the winners a very difficult challenge. We're going to share the stories of our 4 winners in just a minute, but before we do, I want to thank the parents, the educators, and the community leaders who have inspired and supported these students. I also want to thank all of the student entrants for your leadership and dedication to our community. You're a positive role model that we can all learn from, and you are helping bring to life Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision of seeing others giving back to the community. Serving others and giving back to the community is part of what leadership is about. So who knows, maybe in the years ahead, we'll be sitting in a different room or reading a social media post about one of these winners you're about to meet that are sitting here today, and we'll be inspired by their stories, and maybe we'll even take on a challenge to help people in need. Sometimes that's all it takes, is when you see what other people do and you know you can help, that's just enough to get you involved. So that's the beauty of the Keeper of the Dream Award. It reminds us that we're never too young to serve, and for that matter, we're never too old to lead and serve and be an inspiration to others. So I'm very, very proud to represent the employees of International Paper and our long partnership with the National Civil Rights Museum that makes this day possible. I'd now like to turn the program over back to Elise and Gary, and they will announce the winners. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sutton, and these winners are definitely inspiring as an adult. I look up to these kids. Each year at the Student Forum, outstanding young people are honored with the Keeper of the Dream Award. Our first Keeper of the Dream recipient is Donovan Kilgore Russell, a senior A senior at Kingsbury High School, he encourages youth to consider positive conflict resolution tactics as an alternative to violence. He has helped to strengthen the rapport between local law enforcement agencies and local youth by organizing and hosting community activities. He's a co-founder of Black Urban Males, a group that focuses on promoting nonviolent conflict resolution strategies. As keeper of the dream, Kilgore Russell sets a leadership example of how to overcome adversity with critical thinking, determination, discipline, and vigor.
Our next recipient is Mallory L. King. She is a sophomore. She is a sophomore at Ridgeway IB High School. She created a book club for elementary school students and serves as a reading tutor. As a tutor, she noticed that the students did not have books of their own. Mallory established a nonprofit called M&M Cares, named for her and her sister Malia, who died in infancy, and began collecting book donations for the students of Balmoral Elementary School, IB. She says the name of this nonprofit helps to keep her sister's memory alive. Mallory has always had a passion for reading, and now she is sharing her love of books as well as promoting good reading habits with deserving local youth. As keeper of the dream, Mallory follows the footsteps of one of her heroes, Ruby Bridges, by serving as a literary activist and advocate.
Makai Mosby is an 8th grader at Highland Oaks Middle School. They're here. He has a passion for teaching young people and preaching in the community. He became a preacher at the age of 11 and believes in motivating his peers to be positive and focus on their academics. During the summer, he hosted a back-to-school concert and a backpack and school supply drive. The backpack drive brought in over 600 backpacks filled with school supplies for local youth. Makai is a member of the police department's Boy Scout Troop 641, and as a part of that troop, he regularly participates in volunteer work and community service. He is an active member of the Stacks Academy. He was a featured speaker at the City of Memphis Youth Services Dare to Dream Conference. He also participates in student council, band, and is a student orator. As keeper of the dream, Makai leads by example.
Our next recipient is Cleveland Yates. He is a sophomore at Briarcrest Christian School. He has been a leader amongst his peers since he was 9 years old. He is a TV host, musician, and co-producer of a TV show. Through the Kids Do Positive Things organization and TV show, Cleveland has reached thousands of local youth with weekly broadcasts of Cleveland and the community, which airs on WTWV channel 1423. The show focuses on local kids doing great things in the community, such as Mosaic Bridges of Mosbos, local rapper and dancer Demetrius Dotson, Master Chef Junior Season 2 winner Logan Goloff. As keeper of the dream, his goals are to empower youth to pursue their dreams and to understand the importance of community service and leadership. Let's all give a standing ovation for all the Keeper of the Dream winners. They are truly amazing and embody the spirit of Dr. King. Every year, the museum hosts the Drop the Mic Poetry Slam. We will now have a performance from one of this year's finalists, Marquavius Moore from Memphis Harding Academy, with his poem, Go the Speed Limit.
My friends sometimes complain about getting pulled over for speeding. They laugh about how it's their third ticket and how they have community service this week and next. Oh, and then there's the lucky ones that could have gotten a ticket, but luckily the cop was cool. But I'm wondering, would that cool cop try to pull out his gun if it were me? Would my melanin become a sign saying, shoot please, and when I become another hashtag, I'm terrified that what started out as a speeding ticket ended up being an execution slip that when he told me license and registrations, it was a setup. I've learned not to reach for anything. I've learned not to be belligerent. I've learned that being complacent wasn't an option either. So, no, sir. I'm sorry, but my life is worth much more than what your badge must think of me. My life is worth so much more than the 5 over I was going. I'm sorry. But history repeats itself. And I'm not about to be another hashtag, so please understand. I know all cops aren't bad and you risk your lives every day, but try replacing cops with black people. All black people aren't bad. We risk our lives every day just walking the streets or selling CDs or reaching for that ID that you so desperately want to see. So here you go. And by the way, Mr. Policeman, Mr. Officer, Mr. Hero, you're supposed to have my back. And I know it's all red, white, and blue, but what about my black? Thank you.
That was amazing, wasn't it? I've heard that a couple times, and each time I get chills.
Every time. Thank you, Marquavius. At least do you know what time it is?
I think it's time for Teen Talk. Let's turn it over to our moderators.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Jasmine Butler.
And I'm Tariq Thompson.
55 years ago, a group of 13 first graders, known as the Memphis 13, made local and national history by integrating Memphis city schools. Let's hear their story.
When you have a child, you don't want to see your child going way across town walking when it's school right around the corner.
All our parents want us to do is go to a school in the neighborhood. We had to go 13 blocks. I mean, Gordon was 2 blocks from my house.
You do have some thoughts about it, about her safety. Back long before then, lots of black folk didn't even have a chance at anything.
The first day when we got ready to go to school, that morning, we had police escort. We walked to school, and it was kind of exciting, but it was kind of scary.
First day was really nervous, but by the end of the day, it was overwhelming.
But at first, it was like you would wake up in the morning and you would dread going to school. And you're alone. You're kind of always alone.
Bruce, it just was, such a stark contrast. It's like being on the defensive, being at war emotionally for quite a few years, quite frankly. But that first year was just, I cried a lot. It was just hard. I learned to hate school. It was just hard. I hate going to school.
Be the first somebody to start something, you're going to be the first one to get hit. You know what I mean? And to be a 6-year-old, to get hit, it really hurts. It hurts to get a shot at 6.
Within the last 7 or 8 years, at one point I was like, I don't know, I kind of thought you and Mom might have been mad at me for sending me to that school. It's like, did I do something wrong? Why did I have to go to that school? But it's very difficult, being in a situation where you just never get to see images of yourself in a positive light.
You know, to be honest with you, I was scared. And it was days I didn't want to go, you know. But then, you know, my mom was backbone. You had to go. You go get your education. You can be anything you want to be.
It was fun in a way, and then it was hurtful in a way. But I'm just glad I was able to do something to help my race and my people out. I'm glad. I was very proud of that.
And it just made you think that, you know, why wasn't it like this all the time? You know, why did it have to be a black school and a white school and this and that, you know? It just seemed like it should have been like this all the time. Like I said, I was glad I was one of the first 13. To me, it did make you grow up to be a better person.
Today, we pay tribute to the Memphis 13. Please stand so we can recognize you.
Speaking on behalf of the Memphis 13 is Mr. Menelik Fombi. Would you please join me up front? We are very grateful for your sacrifices. Could you please tell us what it is you would like us to remember most about your experience?
The importance of just working hard, the importance of turning the other cheek and realize that it's not always about self. You know, we go through life, we get hurt, we get our feelings hurt, but sometimes there's a bigger cause. And even as a first grader, I didn't quite understand the dynamics. But I knew that my parents had enough sense and enough wisdom to realize that this was something that you need to do. It's going to be a little painful, but you're going to be all right. So perseverance, tolerance, and learning to respect diversity are things that will always be with me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fombi.
Please welcome our 2016 Freedom Award honorees to the stage. Our first Freedom Award recipient is the former governor of Mississippi and an advocate for education reform and racial reconciliation, the Honorable William Winter.
Called a great champion of civil rights by President Bill Clinton, the Honorable William F. Winter is known as one of Mississippi's most progressive governors. During his tenure as the 58th governor of Mississippi, from 1980 to 1984, he led the fight for publicly funded primary education, bringing a statewide system of kindergartens, reading aids, and compulsory school attendance to Mississippi. The Emmy-winning documentary, The Toughest Job, tells the story of his courage and success in office. The dramatic heart of this film is the chilling death threat against his life by the Ku Klux Klan in the 1960s. William Winter's leadership echoed his belief that all people, regardless of race or class, should be entitled to the same rights and opportunities as the most privileged. Born in 1923 in Grenada, Mississippi, William Winter served in the United States Army during World War II and the Korean conflict. He was awarded a BA from the University of Mississippi in 1943 and a law degree in 1949. In 1997, President Bill Clinton initiated One America, an unprecedented national conversation on race. Governor Winter served on the board of One America, helping to bring the only Deep South public forum to his alma mater. The success of One America at Ole Miss spawned the institute that carries his legacy today, the William Winter Institute for Racial Reconciliation. At age 93, he continues to practice law to this day with the Jackson, Mississippi firm of Jones Walker, LLP. I'm David Cruz. We're proud to present the Freedom Award to a courageous political leader and education reformer, and my fine friend, William Winter, a humble man with little to be humble about.
Mr. Winter, thank you for being with us this morning. Our first question will come from the audience.
I'm Trent Doubleday. I'm a fifth grader from Rivercrest Elementary. Why was it so important that you helped school kids like me when you were a governor?
Again, that was, why was it so important that you helped school kids like me when you were governor?
That is a very good question. I remember what it was like going to school in Mississippi as I was growing up. I was a white kid. I knew and played with a lot of my contemporaries who were black. But then when school started, I would get on a good bus and go into the county seat to a good school. My African American contemporaries, boys and girls like me, did not have a bus to ride to school on. And so on winter mornings, I would be on that bus going into a good school, and we would splash mud on my black friends as they walked to a little one-room school. I saw then the unfairness of our system of education. And so even at that early age, I knew that we were not being fair to a whole generation of young African Americans. And in my life, I have seen the difference between those who got a good education and those who did not. And so when I was finally elected governor of Mississippi in 1979, I made it my #1 priority to do everything I could to see to it that every child in my state, black or white or whatever race they were, got a competitive education so that they would be able to lead as fulfilling a life as anybody anywhere. And that is a commitment I made to myself as well as to my fellow Mississippians. We have come a long way in terms of educating our young people, but we still have a long way to go, and we still have too much left to do to be complacent about the status of education. So that is what has driven me in my political career.
We also have an online question from Dallas King at Bellevue Middle School.
There's a lot of hate in our countries today. How can we promote peace, healing, and racial reconciliation in our communities today?
Again, that was, how can we promote peace, healing, and racial reconciliation in our communities.
That is an issue that should concern every single one of us in America today. We have a great country, but we will never be as great a country as we should be unless we come together as one people, respecting each other, not letting any superficial differences as to what we look like or what race we are or what religion we believe in. We still have to get together and learn to live together, to get to know each other, to respect each other. And when we do that, we will then have the kind of country that I hope our grandchildren, our children, and our grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren will be able to lead a better life than any of us have. That is a challenge for all of us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Winter. Tariq?
How many of you like basketball? Well, our next Freedom Award honoree is WNBA All-Star and Olympic basketball player, Swin Cash.
She was born Swin Taylor, which means astounding woman, befitting considering the ways she would grow to lead and inspire the world. Swin Cash is considered a giant in the game of basketball, one of the most decorated players in its history. She is a 5-time WNBA All-Star, 2-time WNBA All-Star MVP, and a 3-time WNBA champion. Swin has won 2 Olympic gold medals and was 2-time NCAA champion at the University of Connecticut. She is one of only a handful of women to win NCAA and WNBA championships, along with FIBA World Championship and Olympic gold. She has been honored by the WNBA as one of the top 20 greatest and most influential players in league history. Swin spent time playing in Detroit, Seattle, Chicago, Atlanta, and New York, where she concluded her illustrious professional career after 15 amazing seasons. Swin crafted an identity on the court, but there is so much more to her than points and rebounds. She uses her platform to advocate for civil and human rights, empowering women across the WNBA to voice opinions on important issues. In light of ongoing racial tensions between African Americans and police officers, Swin encouraged her peers to make their opinions known and lend their voice to the issues they felt were important. One of her proudest moments from 15 years in the WNBA did not occur during a game. It was that all 140 women across the league stood up and said, "We have a voice, and we want to talk about issues of gun violence and injustice in America, and we will be heard." I'm Isaiah Thomas, president of the New York Liberty. We are proud to present the Freedom Award to a champion on and off the court, Swin Cash.
Wow. Basketball star, community advocate, and sports commentator. We are honored to have you here today.
Thank you very much.
We have a question from the audience.
I'm Taylor Brown, and I'm a 10th grader at St. Agnes. What motivated you to protest this summer, and do you think you were treated differently than the NBA players who protested?
Well, that's a really good question, and thanks for being here. Thanks for your question. So, this summer was amazing for me. At the beginning of the summer, I announced that I was going to retire 15 years from the WNBA, and I had no idea that this would probably be one of the funnest years for me. And that's because, like you heard in the video, during the summertime, my teammates and I and all the women across the league were hit with the same kind of pain and feeling that you all had, watching a 24-hour cycle of black men being murdered and it playing again and again on national television. And as soon as that happened, we all start talking. We all text messaging. And everyone's talking about what's happening, what's going on, what can we do? Now, as athletes, we have a platform. Whether it's as big as the NBA or NFL, or it's as small sometimes as us in the WNBA, we had an opportunity and an obligation to figure out what can we do to bring awareness to what's happening and make people realize that there has to be change in our community. So immediately, because I'm on also the executive committee with the union, I got a phone call, 2 a.m. in the morning. There's a player crying on the phone. What can we do? What can we do? Immediately, I realized that I had to step up and be a leader at that time and figure out how to really galvanize the whole team and the body. So we went to work. We said, how do we use sports as our platform? We didn't care about the fines. We didn't care about if we were liked or if we were going to get hate mail or some of the fans didn't like it. We knew that we had to step up for the cause. And so we decided, Minnesota first, they had the first game. Minnesota decided to wear t-shirts. Now, mind you, Minnesota was wearing a t-shirt that not only had Black Lives Matter, it also had that we need to, the change starts with us. Now, they also had on their shirts about the Dallas 5, the 5 officers that were also killed in Dallas. Immediately, from the media, they got pushback by some of the local law enforcement because they felt that women and using sports, we shouldn't be standing up or talking about this in the sporting arena. Why not? We should be talking about this across the country, not just at sporting events. So it was such a big moment for the WNBA this summer because the women stood up. We not only wore the shirts, but we also did a media blackout, which a lot of people I thought was somewhat more significant at that point in time than just the t-shirts. And what we did with the media blackout was we were in New York City, the media came in, I gave them a statement about the game, and I said we are no longer taking questions about the game. If you want to talk to us, you can talk to us about Black Lives Matter, you can talk to us about social injustice and everything else. And in that moment, as women, we realized we took our power back to say, you're not going to dictate to us what you want us to talk about. We're going to talk about what needs to be talked about. And so that's why it was one of my proudest moments, because at that point in time, we were the first. It was before Colin was kneeling. It was before the NBA happened last year when they were wearing the I Can't Breathe shirts. We started at a point when our country was at a tipping point of figuring out what are we going to do. And to me, that's one of the proudest moments, because if you look back in the civil rights era and everything else that was happening, when you look at Dr. King, there's always a picture of a woman, whether it's his wife or someone else that's standing right there fighting for the cause. And so that's why, for me, this summer for the WNBA, it was so significant that we brought a voice to the table, because women should always be at the table.
Thank you for that wonderful answer, Ms. Cash.
Thank you.
We also have an online question for you from Whitehaven High School. How do you feel about receiving this honor?
I'm very honored. It's very humbling to be up here and to sit next to the honorees and to think about the great works, because I admire everyone that's on this stage right now. For me as a young girl, I had a strong mother that worked as a foreman in the projects that we grew up in, and she went to work every day on an all-male crew. And I used to watch my mom get up in the morning time, and she used to put on her makeup and her lipstick, and then she would throw on her overalls, and I would say to her, Mom, why are you putting on makeup? You're about to go snake a toilet, you're about to go do all this electric work, what are you doing? And my mom would always say to me, it doesn't matter where I'm going to work. I work with all men, but I'm a lady first. And so everything at a young age that she instilled in me about getting my education, about being the best that I can be. She wasn't telling my brothers one thing and telling me something that's different. She was saying that whether you're male or female, whatever you want to do in life, you can achieve that. And so I've been blessed to achieve a lot of things on the court, but I'm just so proud to be up here today because a lot of times the work that you do doesn't always get recognized, and we don't do the work because it needs to be recognized. We do the work because it's our responsibility, and because I always live by the scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. I've been blessed with a lot, and so I try to always give it back. So I'm really honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cash.
Thank you.
A couple weeks ago, the 2016 Nobel Prize winners were announced. Our next Freedom Award honoree is one of the youngest Nobel Peace Prize recipients, Tawakkol Karman.
Tawakkol Karman was born in Taiz, Yemen's third largest city, to a lawyer and politician father who served in the government of Ali Abdullah Saleh. She studied commerce at the University of Science and Technology in Sana'a before receiving a graduate degree in political science. Growing up in a politically tumultuous country, Tawakkol witnessed the unification of North and South Yemen in 1990, followed by a civil war between the two factions in 1994, in which the North triumphed over the South. A journalist by profession and human rights activist by nature, Tawakkol responded to the political instability and human rights abuses in Yemen by mobilizing others and reporting on injustices. In 2007, Tawakkol began organizing weekly protests in Yemen's capital, Sana'a, targeting systemic government repression and calling for inquiries into corruption and other forms of social and legal injustice. In 2011, she redirected protesters to support the Arab Spring and became an international face of the movement. Tawakkol was imprisoned on several occasions in 2011, in some cases locked up in chains. This prompted heightened protests for her release by fellow students, activists, and politicians who began calling her Iron Woman and Mother of the Revolution. By year's end, she was the co-recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, along with Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and women's rights activist Lima Bowie. I'm Beverly Tsakoyanis. We're proud to present the Freedom Award to Tawakkol Karman, a remarkable peacemaker who continues to be a critical force in the human rights struggle.
We are honored to have a modern-day revolutionary and women's rights activist with us today. Ms. Karman, our first question comes from the audience.
Assalamu alaikum, good morning. My name is Takwayesh and I attend Pleasant View School. I'm a 12th grader. Actually, 2 years ago, me and my friends did a project on you, and we took it and we went all the way to nationals. And so my question for you is, ما هي أمنياتك وطموحاتك لحكم المرأة في العالم الإسلامي وخارجه? What are your hopes for the rights of women in the Islamic countries and around the world?
So the right to have a high voice. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon all of you. The right of women in Muslim world is the same right of women in all over the world. There is no difference between Muslims women, Christian women, Jewish women, Buddhist women, non-believer women. All of us should be committed to the human rights values. All of us. So women should work very hard for her society, for every people in her society, for men and women, for civil rights. Women in Muslim countries that suffer from conservative, she must put herself in the first line of leadership. To don't ask any permission from anyone to participate in public life. She must say every time I am here, I am the one who will solve all the crises that been happened by men. And that is exactly what we did through our peaceful revolution. When we toppled the dictator, we didn't wait for the men rule to step him down. We went to the first line and we told the people, wake up, come with us. So we were men and women, hand with hand, in one street, in one battle, which is the battle of freedom, dignity, democracy, equality, rule of law, and peace.
We also have an online question from Michaela Hamer at Roselle Elementary School.
What were the dangers you faced as a politically active woman in Yemen?
Again, that was, what were the dangers and obstacles you faced as a politically active woman in Yemen?
A lot of obstacles. But the first obstacle is the dictator himself, is the tyranny that afraid from civil rights, that afraid from all people who are calling for freedom and dignity and democracy. The dictator who made all the crises around us. So that was the most important obstacle that faced me as a citizen, as a human, and also that faced me as a woman. I am woman, and I'm so proud to be woman. I'm so proud to be woman. But also, when I talk about rights, I'm talking about rights as a human that take care of all things on my country. Because of that, I didn't put myself in the traditional rule that the tyranny wants me to sit. He wants me, as a woman, to stay at the kitchen, to cook, and to sleep, and that's it. And this is my really big rule that I have to do. And that is the rule that tyranny wants. And that is the rule of the religious people who belong to tyranny, tried to convince women in our country to do. They told her, you should stay in your house, and it's forbidden in religion to go to the street. So this was the second challenge. First challenge, tyranny himself, when he created all the corruption, when he created all the dictatorship system, when he killed his opponent, when he put his opponent in the prison, like he put me many times in the prison. And second, which is the bad religious people, who is the tongue of the dictator, not the tongue of the religion. And the third obstacle that faced me was the bad customs, the bad traditions that also said to women to play just tradition rule. So it was a very big 3 obstacles. But because I am a woman, and because I am human, and because I know very well my responsibility, as my colleague said, and I very well know my duty. It's my duty to contribute in the public life. It's my duty to contribute, or not just to contribute, to lead the people on fighting corruption, to lead the people on fighting tyranny, to lead the people on fighting terrorism. So because of that, I was totally believe on my rule and on my capability. Because of that, I broke all these walls. The dictator, the bad religious people, and the bad tradition and customs. And we won. Here I am. Here I am. We forced the dictator to resign by peaceful way, and this is the most important method that our leader Martin Luther King taught us. Yes, and thank you very much to Dr. Martin Luther King. Thank you very much to Nelson Mandela. Thank you very much to Mahatma Gandhi. They show us the real way to have our freedom. The real way, which is peaceful method. And that was the fourth biggest obstacle that we face. Peaceful method. How can we convince an armed society like Yemen to throw all the weapons and to come with us to the street, carrying the flowers in front of all the kind of violence of the dictator? That was a big obstacle. But because I believe on the people and I trust them, and because I sacrifice on my soul, on myself, I've been a lot of time in the prison. I've been threatened many times. My family was under, attack many times. I convinced people that you should listen to me. And they listened to me. And in 2011, Yemeni people throw more than 70 million pieces of weapons, came with me to the street, carry the flowers in front of all the kind of violence of the tyranny. That was a big successful. So please keep in the method of Martin Luther King, which is peaceful way. We have a lot of challenges after that, a lot, and I will not explain it now. But this is because you asked about challenges. I didn't see to the challenges as something will deny me on continue my role. No, that challenges was something that gave me more power, more trust on myself, and more trust on my goal is right. So I should carry people with me, and that is what happened. So I'm so proud of what we did as Yemen people, as women, as youth, and as civil rights movements that is here, people. We are an extent of your struggle here in America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Carmen. Tariq.
Our final Freedom Award honoree you have probably seen in the news, attorney and victims' rights advocate Benjamin Crump.
Benjamin Crump has created a significant legal legacy that ensures that the promise found in our nation's Constitution is indeed real. He's both a litigator and an advocate who has ensured that those most frequently marginalized are protected by the nation's contract with its constituency. Attorney Crump serves as a voice for the voiceless in high-profile pro bono cases with widespread civil rights implications. Over the past 20 years, he has advocated on behalf of victims of police brutality in court, including Terrence Crutcher of Tulsa, Oklahoma, 14-year-old Martin Lee Anderson of Bay County, Florida, 12-year-old Tamir Rice of Cleveland, Ohio, 18-year-old Michael Brown of Ferguson, Missouri, and the precedent-setting Robbie Tolan U.S. Supreme Court case, all black men and boys who were victims of shootings or death in altercations with law enforcement. Attorney Crump successfully campaigned to have George Zimmerman arrested and tried for the death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin. And he represented 10 black women who were the victims in the Holtzclaw, Oklahoma City Police rape case in 2015, solidifying his reputation as an ambassador of justice for all. Attorney Crump understands that the practice of law is a privilege that carries with it certain responsibilities and obligations to our society and to our democracy. He gives freely and unselfishly of his time and his legal talent to represent the poor, the powerless, the defenseless, and the oppressed among us. He strives through his work to fulfill the promise of equal justice for all. I'm MC Light. We're proud to present the Freedom Award to this awesome brother, a champion of victims' rights, Benjamin Crump, Esquire.
We're very glad to have you here, Mr. Crump.
Thank you.
Mr. Crump, we are familiar with the cases and families you represented. Our first question comes from the audience.
I'm Chris Scott. I'm a senior from Mitchell High School. You are known for taking on cases for individuals who have been treated unjustly by law enforcement officials. What got you started on a particular path as an attorney?
What was the last thing?
What got you started on this particular path as an attorney?
Certainly. First of all, good morning. I want to thank you all for this incredible honor and with these incredible individuals. I also want to acknowledge what got me started is the same reason I'm here today, the struggle. The struggle continues no matter what day of the week it is. Even as I'm sitting here with you all today in Memphis, Tennessee, I am getting calls from New York about a police shooting killing a 66-year-old black woman. So the struggle continues every day. And even though this is a celebratory time, we must always remember the struggle continues. So before I answer your question, even though I know we're here celebrating and the struggle continues, I would be remiss if I did not say, in the midst of this struggle, I'm honored to have my beautiful wife here with me on her birthday. Baby, will you please stand? And y'all please join me in saying happy birthday to my wife, Dr. Janae Angelique Crump. And to answer your question, why I do what I do, it's because your life matters. Tariq, life matters. 17-year-old Trayvon Benjamin Martin, life mattered. 18-year-old Michael Brown, life mattered. 12-year-old Tamir Rice, life mattered. Sandra Bland, life mattered. Jonathan Crawford, who was killed in Walmart on video, his life mattered. Natasha McKinney in Virginia, her life mattered. Alicia Thomas in Los Angeles, California, her life mattered. Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, his life mattered. Philando Castile in Minneapolis, Minnesota, his life mattered. And Terrence Crutcher, who we all saw with his hands up, walking in that slow motion documentary of yet another unarmed person of color in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in broad daylight walking away. His life mattered. And so that's why we are here doing what we do. And I would be remiss, I want to ask you all to do me a favor, if you would. And I always do this as I try to go around the country speaking on these matters of social justice. And I remember the reason I'm fighting and the people I'm fighting for. And as I look at all you young people here in the audience, I'm thinking about Trayvon Martin. I'm thinking about Michael Brown. So for their parents, I want you all to stand up for me. Just stand up for me and repeat after me. And for all of you on social media, I want this to trend on social media. I want this to get back to Ferguson, Missouri. I want this to get all over America. Will you all join me? And young people, you all created this, so I know I'm not asking you all to do nothing that you all haven't already done in the last couple of years. I want you, for Michael Brown and all the young people in Black Lives Matter movement, to join me and say, hands up, hands up. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Hands up, hands up. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Hands up, hands up. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Thank you. And now while you're still standing, it's hard to believe, Michael, Eric Dyson, that in February it'll be 5 years since 17-year-old Trayvon Martin was walking home from the 7-Eleven with a bag of Skittles and a can of iced tea. And it was you young people, as so well documented in the Civil Rights Museums, that you all took the lead in making Trayvon Martin's name become a household name that would be in the annals of American history and indeed the entire world forever. When you all simply said and acknowledged that it could have been any of you. How many teenagers do we have in the room? How many teenagers are here? And so when I think of Trayvon Martin and the tragic way he was killed, I do think of all of you and the potential of your life. So for Trayvon's mother and father, Tracy and Sabrina, repeat after me. I am Trayvon. I am Trayvon. I am Trayvon. One last time so Trayvon can hear us as he looks down today. I am Trayvon Martin. I am Trayvon Martin. I am Trayvon Martin. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Crum. We have a question from online from Barrett's Chapel School. In light of recent racial division, what advice would you give the youth of our community to keep racial lines from dividing us further?
Certainly. And that's the big thing that I am so heartened by, that the young people get it. The fact that young people, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, are all standing up and saying that this is wrong. You all taught us right and wrong, and we're going to stand for right. And one of the things, the best thing that any young person can do to try to heal this country, because we all have an obligation here to heal this country. And Dr. King said, moral-minded individuals have an obligation. We have an obligation to say something when we see injustice. When you see injustice, your silence is betrayal if you don't say anything. And you always have to remember that. One of the things that we try to do with this Social Justice Institute that we're working on with Tennessee State, we try to help transform the community from saying no justice, no peace to no justice, no peace. And you all are going to get that on your way out the room. No justice, no peace, N-O, justice, N-O, peace, to no, K-N-O-W, justice, no, K-N-O-W, peace. And why that is so very significant, you all have to understand, young people, most people want to say, oh man, the black people marching again, the Hispanic people marching again, and they looking at us like, can we just get peace? Can we just, get some order here? Can we just have y'all calm down? And what they don't understand is that this is happening to our brothers and sisters, our mothers and our fathers, our classmates. And so when we say just we want peace, you have to really understand, brothers and sisters, you have to really understand what Dr. Martin Luther King said, what peace is. Peace is not merely the absence of tension, but it is the presence of justice. So when we say no justice, no peace, we really want no justice, no peace. Because at the end of the day, all we want for our children, all we want for our community is to give them the same constitutional guarantees to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the equal opportunity to fulfill their dreams like everybody else wants for their children. We're not asking for anything special. We just want justice for our children to have this chance at the American dream. And as I conclude, I always, because Thurgood Marshall is my personal hero, and I always want to acknowledge in the framework of America this incredible document called the United States Constitution. And what Justice Marshall said is this, that the basis of the American Constitution is that a little black baby born to a black mother, the most uneducated black mother, the most inarticulate black mother, the most impoverished black mother, has the same exact rights as a white baby born to a white mother, the most affluent white mother, the most articulate white mother, the most educated white mother, just by virtue of that baby drawing its first breath as an American. Now, Justice Marshall said, I know that's not the case in America today, but I challenge anybody to say that's not a goal worth fighting for. I challenge anybody to say that's not what makes America the great beacon of hope and justice for all the world to marvel. So when we stand up and fight for justice for the Trayvon Martins of the world and the unknown Trayvon Martins of the world, what we are really doing is helping America live up to its creed. What we're really doing is helping America be the great beacon of hope and justice for all the world to marvel. And most importantly, what we are really doing is helping America be America for all Americans. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crump.
On behalf of everyone, I'd like to thank our wonderful honorees one more time. That wraps it up for Teen Talk. Back to you, Elise and Gary.
Who else was awed and inspired just now? Let's thank our honorees, William Winter, Swin Cash, Tawakal Carmen, and Benjamin Crump, as well as our sponsors. Yeah, you can go ahead and give them another round of applause. And this event would not have happened without our sponsors, so let's give them a hand because they made it possible to bring such extraordinary people to Memphis to be Freedom Award honorees. International Paper, Hyde Family Foundation, FedEx, and Nike. We also thank First Tennessee Foundation for sponsoring the honoree bio videos.
Let's also thank our Teen Talk moderators, Jasmine Butler and Tori Thompson.
Gary, I think I'm going to be out of a job soon, right? After they're moderating.
Yeah. We'll now have another selection from Overton High School Concert Choir.
What beautiful a cappella voices. Thank you so much, everyone. We also wanted to thank one of our sponsors, Ford Motor Company, very special to us, very important for this event. That concludes the 2016 Freedom Award Student Forum, brought to you by the National Civil Rights Museum and International Paper. And I don't know if you guys were paying attention up to these, the screens up here, but you could see your tweets that were going on. You definitely want to encourage this conversation. Keep the Attorney Crump said, no justice, K-N-O-W, no justice, no peace. Definitely keep everything that you learned here and continue it on with it as you go throughout your everyday lives. Special thanks to the Memphis 13 and our Freedom Award honorees. For those of you watching online, thanks for joining us today.
We've had a great time with you today. Please remain in your seats until your school has been dismissed and follow the instructions of the volunteers. We hope to see you next year, and make sure you visit the National Civil Rights Museum. Thank you.
Please.